The process of nominating a Democrat to oppose President Trump in November has been rudely interrupted by the coronavirus emergency. A growing number of contests have been postponed, the process all but frozen and plunged into the same type of uncertainty experienced by most American people and businesses. But before the crisis hit, Democratic voters handed Joe Biden a string of victories, making the former vice president the current heavy favorite to secure the nomination. That means he could become the 46th president. So we present 5 facts about the life and times of Joe Biden. Fact 1. He represented Delaware in Congress for 35 years and served as vice president for 8 years. After being raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania for the first 10 years of his life and then Delaware, graduating from the University of Delaware and Syracuse University Law School, Biden served on the Newcastle, Delaware Town Council for 2 years. And then in 1972, at age 30, he became the 6th youngest senator in American history. Biden went on to serve as chairman of the powerful Foreign Relations Committee and Judiciary Committee. In 2008, he was tapped as the running mate of Barack Obama and became the first Roman Catholic elected to the second highest office in the land, where he served until 2017. Fact 2. Joe Biden ran for president twice before. Biden announced his candidacy for the 1988 presidential nomination, but withdrew in the fall of 1987 amid allegations of plagiarism. He ran again 20 years later in 2008, but failed to attract a significant vote in the initial contest in Iowa and pulled out of the race. Later that year, he became the party's candidate for vice president. He was widely considered likely to run for president again in 2016, but chose not to. Which brings us directly to fact 3. He has suffered more personal loss than many people could bear. When Biden's son, Beau Biden, the one-time Attorney General of Delaware, died of brain cancer at age 46 just before his father was on the verge of deciding whether to run for president again in 2016, it was the second family tragedy the former vice president suffered. Just before he was set to take the oath of office to enter the Senate in late 1972, Biden's wife and son were killed in a car crash. His other 2 sons, Beau and Hunter, were injured but recovered. It was widely believed at the time that he might not be able to serve his term in the Senate, but he did and remained there for more than 3 decades. 3 years after the tragedy, he got remarried to Jill Biden, now his wife of 45 years. Fact 4. Biden's personal trials also included 2 very serious medical incidents months apart while serving in the Senate. He suffered a brain aneurysm or ballooning of an artery to the brain on his left side in February of 1988, shortly after his withdrawal from that year's presidential race. And then another smaller aneurysm on his right side less than 3 months later. His likelihood of full recovery diminished following the second incident, but he returned to the Senate within 3 months. Now, that brings us to fact 5. Biden pulled off a memorable upset in his first Senate election. The 1972 U.S. Senate election in Delaware featured the final campaign of longtime incumbent Republican J. Caleb Boggs, who had reportedly decided to retire, but was persuaded to run one final time to avoid an intra-party primary fight. The Democrats were given almost no chance of winning, but after most of the potential candidates passed on running against Boggs, Biden stepped forward. He had almost no money and hired his sister to run his campaign. But after trailing by almost 30 percentage points, he scored a 1-point victory in perhaps the biggest upset in the history of Delaware. He was re-elected to the Senate 5 times by margins of no less than 17 points.
Hi folks, Lisa K. Donner here, Editor-in-Chief of Liberty Nation Gen Z. We hope you enjoyed watching this video and maybe even learned a thing or two. If so, please subscribe to the LN Gen Z YouTube channel right down there in the corner. Thanks so much.